Hello and welcome to this week's, this month's, this quarter's, who knows. This has been a long time since there's been another Madaxeman podcast. I think it was back in November of 2022 and we're now right at the beginning of March 2023. So we've clearly got a lot to talk about. We've got nearly a full set, only a badger missing today, but we're going to regale you with stories of nearly all the things we bought, some of the things we painted, otherwise it would be a very long episode, and quite a lot of the competitions that we've been to as well in the UK, up and down the country, southwest, east, north, and even going into sunny Spain. So sit back, enjoy the podcast, which is coming to you, and we will be back fairly soon as well.
This means war.
Well, welcome. It's been quite a while since November. I'm looking around. I think I'm not sure whether this country's had 3 or 4 or possibly 5 prime ministers in that time. Interest rates have gone up, down, leftwards. Nobody's been able to pay for heating, and now we've got no vegetables. But with those things in mind, that's probably exactly why we're all huddled around the monitor trying to pick up the warmth exuding from our Zoom screens as we all nearly stare at each other for the time. And I think more importantly than that, we've just found out through something that I'm signed up to on podcast monitoring, that we've dropped a whole 45 places to be now only the 129th best, most popular hobbies-based podcast in New Zealand. We're in 129th place, down 45 from the last time that this thing sent me a random selection. So we can't live with that. We've just got to chuck out some more nonsense, tedious content, really, haven't we? So we've got almost the complete gang. Only the Lord Badger himself is away, and if I cast my eyes across the screen, that's probably reduced the average amount of hair across all of us by quite a significant amount, really.
At least 50%, I'd have thought.
That's quite scary, isn't it? Yeah, it would divide it all by 6 or something like that, and then add a bit of badger to it. So no Peter, but we've got the rest of the gang here. So without further ado, I guess we dive straight in and try and pick. If anybody can remember, if anybody can pore over their credit card bills or their PayPal accounts, or possibly even bought something face to face, what have we bought since we were last all staring at each other in November? Any particular highlights? Simon, you're pyramiding your fingers in a kind of evil genius, I'm in a world of shopping sort of way. What's the Simon highlight? Because I guess this period includes Warfare as well, doesn't it? The show.
Yeah, so Warfare was quite good. So like many war gamers, we went to the new Warfare show, or the new location, I guess, out in Farnborough, and out of the Salubius airport. That was quite nice. And there were quite a lot of vendors out there. So I resisted the 25mm Renaissance quite a lot because they were calling me. But I got attacked by a bunch of plastic models. So Adam, you'd be really happy to know, a whole bunch of Vitrix, Greek and other figures seem to have launched themselves into my handbag and said, take me home and paint me. So I've now got a Seleucid Greek army in 25mm that's starting being painted up. So there's
wow.
Really, really nice figures. So having a bit of fun with the old clippers and liquid poly, and get that beautiful smell of acetone and all that, and painting them all up.
Good. What was your thoughts on the venue? Because it's quite a change from Ascot, and it's quite a change from the years before in the slightly chlorinated leisure centre in the bowling alley or something like that.
The venue was The venue was quite awkward for us to get to. As when we drove in, we were trying to find it wasn't gate 34A, it was 34B, around the back, past the Russian oligarchs and the other airplanes. The actual venue itself was, as a war game, was really, really good. We had a great big hall. All the majority of the traders and the war gamers were together. They had decent coffee and food and all that, as in you could actually get to it, which was a good surprise. Then I had another hall with all the other gaming shops. Lots of traders. It was great to see lots of the games all together, where compared to at the racecourse, you didn't know who was playing because we're all scattered around.
Yeah, it was all over the shop, wasn't it? Yeah.
And being that it's an aircraft hangar, you've got the nice high ceiling. So especially the next day after the usual Saturday night curry and a few glasses of beer and all that, it was quite pleasant. And yeah, it was a nice space. You could definitely see we could grow into it. And as the Wargamers table, we actually had space between each of the gaming areas. So you could actually walk around and move your miniature bag without knocking someone's table.
Did anyone go by public transport at all? Or was it because driving there was you're driving somewhere, aren't you? And there was a bit of a schlep around the airfield once we knew, but I don't know if anybody. Samson, did you go down by public transport at all?
No, I didn't go down to Warfare. I didn't go.
No, didn't go. Okay. Was that
Gordon
just because it was?
And the rest went. Gordon went by public transport. They had to walk miles, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they had quite a schlep, didn't it?
They needed to open another exit or entrance gates for the walk.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that to one of the guys there. I suspect the venue had just sort of forgotten to open it or not realised that all those gamers would arriving before the public or something like that. So they opened a gate in the fence for the public at 10 o'clock, but we were all there kind of at 8:30, which was a bit of a problem for it. But teething troubles. But I guess it's putting a thing in another proper venue, isn't it? Really?
It was. I mean, I could see from the traders, it was a great location because they could drive their vans up, load straight in and out. I was watching the miniature teams, the various miniature companies, be able to just basically wheel all their heavy lead into it. That was quite good. And
is Reading looking to stay there for good now? Then,
yes.
No, okay.
Yeah, I think the swimming pool thing is being knocked down or rebuilt or something. But they've even got dates for the next 2 or 3 years in. I think the next 2 years in Farnborough. So
I always look forward to the weird cafe with the weird ceiling.
That is the problem. The gorge in Reading, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe we should just do a club outing to have a full English breakfast in Caversham or something like that, because that was actually almost as important as the whole rest of the event, wasn't it? I think that was blockbuster breakfast they did. It was just epic. I wonder what
There's a nice place that does breakfast in Burton as well.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, yeah, but the Caversham one, you'd almost drive there just as a specific event, a bit like when Adam, that time we went back down to Bath when there wasn't a competition on, just to play History of the World in a tapas bar.
That was one of my favourite wargaming competition weekends, actually,
because there was no competition.
Weirdly enough,
we just went down. Yeah, we just went down for the gaming. God, okay. So Simon, is that kind of your only purchase over the last few months?
No, and the other purchase I was very, very lucky to get. I happened to go to America to see some family over there. So since I was going over to America, it'd be rude not to go and buy some miniatures there. So I got a whole bunch of the Khurasan later Renaissance figures. Face it.
Is that their figures, or is that the ex Giuseppe Rava Testudo ones?
No, these are their range. This is their range of the Louis XIV, the later Swedes, and all that range. So lots of tassels, lace, and cute hats and all that, and flintlock guns. So they look really pretty. So I've got a whole bunch of those to do a bunch of either later Swedes, Leader of Augsburgs, or whoever they are. Got some musketeers, so I can make various French jokes and all that, and lots of regimental artillery. So that'll keep me amused for at least a few months.
Good. And that got because it's always the challenge with Khurasan, isn't it? I've never heard anybody have a problem with ordering from them overseas, and everything just sort of gets through. And I don't think I've ever heard anybody saying that there's been any major problems with postage or customs, which you kind of should get. He's got some sort of clever way of getting around it, hasn't he?
Yeah, he does it through eBay, but because of one of my brother-in-laws lives in America, I got all the lead delivered to him, and so I rocked up and go, "G'day, how are you? We know where my toys."
Right. And then that just sorts out all the postage. Oh, fantastic!
Absolutely, yeah. So save the postage and all that.
And have you started? We'll talk about painting a bit later, but have you started dabbling in painting up both of them in parallel, or you've got the discipline to put one lot as no head gets shaken, bit of everything straight in.
So I've painted up one pike and shot unit just to see how they look like and just get my idea of what I'm doing. And then I bought got the 25mm guy. So I've got half a dozen half units already painted up, and I'm just you'll be very happy to see the decals have arrived from
right, okay, shield transfers, all good.
all good tricks. It's all that. So there's
Brilliant.
gonna be shield transfers everywhere.
Excellent. You'll be little bits of clear plastic will be littering the floor and getting sucked up in the Hoover.
Getting
Very
into
much
track on the wooden floor.
I suspect. Good. All right. Okay. Well, Dave, you've just given us a to interrupt there. Or unless there was someone else impersonating you, which is a bit weird. What have you bought since Warfare? What's been on the Saunders shopping list?
I've bought nothing since Warfare. I bought stuff at Warfare.
Okay. What was the Warfare thing? Because that is still
I
November,
bought
isn't it?
lots of camels.
You bought lots of camels.
Yeah, the War and Empire, Forged in Battle, another blister of their camels with lances, I suppose, which will be that's enough. I can do all the camels I want, and I've got a blister of cataphract camels as well.
Oh, right. Okay.
I've got tired of being beaten up by camels and decided to go for it and have as many camels as everybody else.
So does that mean you've got 12 cataphract camels if that's a blister, and you only need 6?
Yeah.
Is that the way?
Yeah, so but then there will be the odd occasion you might want 3 at 300 points or something.
Of course there will. That's a classic Wargamers justification, isn't it? Yeah. So you might as well paint up all 12 anyway.
Or there'll be 2 bases at some point that can go somewhere.
Yeah, there will be. Good. So that's literally your purchasing has been two packets.
I also bought Colonel Bill do old recycled.
Okay.
People, and so I got four Essex heavy chariots from them at a nicely reduced rate.
All right. For which army? What, biblical stuff or
It's just biblical. So they're Assyrian ones. So I think I can use them for anything from that sort of later period. But heavy chariots, I like the gladiator chariots, but they don't. Their range is limited. No heavy chariots. They're really good figures. I really like their biblical figures. It'd be good to get them if they could do more. But
Yeah,
I think they're an old range that's been recycled, though, haven't they?
Yeah, that's those really kind of chunky, muscular little guys that look quite different because everybody else's biblical stuff's always quite skinny, isn't it? I think.
They do. You started doing extra in Fighting 15. You started doing extra horses to turn the 2 horse chariots into 4, I guess.
Right. Okay. Yeah. There's still 2 guys in the cab.
I know what I could. I found some Napoleonics on eBay going cheap.
Okay. And you managed to buy them before Dave Allen did?
Yeah. They're AB miniature 15, 18 millimeter Württemberg.
Right. Württemberg.
It was spooky because it was exactly what I needed to turn my 3 regiments of Württembergers into a division.
Okay. Are they painted or unpainted?
Unpainted.
Because they are beautiful figures. I've got them figures, and they are really beautiful.
Yeah, I bought about enough to do sort of 3 regiments for a Bataille Empire, BE, whatever you want to call it, for the Allies in a French army. But now I've got enough to sort of create it into its own. I've got, whereas I had the light infantry and 3 lots of heavy infantry, I've now got the cavalry and the artillery and the riflemen, Jaegers. So
because it sounds like I've sort of picked up in the on the wires, so to speak, that Bataille Empire is moving quite swiftly towards a new updated version of it. There's kind of, I think, North Star have run out of the first print run, which I guess is a thing, and I've seen some messages suggesting that Hervé is looking at a new version, and because I'm involved with sorting out roll call, there's a Bataille Empire competition there that I think has got about 8 or 9 people at it, maybe close up to 10 now actually, and they're using something called the Alcoy Amendments, which sounds like the kind of document that someone marches up to a big wooden church door and hammers in and causes a schism all across Europe or something, the Alcoy Amendments. But I suspect it's actually some of the people in Spain or France who actually play it have worked out some things to make it actually playable. And they're now just all playing that at competitions, and that may well become the basis for a next edition of it that will be not a version 1 with good ideas, but they're quite painful to to kind of force your way through it. So that could be an
I've,
interesting thing.
I've played a few games recently, and I've come to
Yeah.
the conclusion that because at first it is all hard work, but the last game I had, it flowed quite quickly. And first I had to get my head around the idea that the whole idea of it is a competition set of rules, which I find that easy to get my head around, for instance, for Napoleonics. So once I understood that, and that's what it was trying to do, that made it easier. And I've come to the conclusion that you can get a competition type game out of it, but the time scale is more 3 hours, 15 minutes rather than ADLG 215, 220. Because the last game I had was really good, and it was a different this sort of like attacking the dice rolls at the beginning, set up a nice little scenario, and it was an interesting game. Still a bit too long, still a little bit too, oh god, this is, oh, they've shot already and that means it's a +1. But no, it's it kind of works. So hopefully a new edition would clean it up so it's streamlined.
Yeah, well, I think knocking the corners off it would be great, really, wouldn't it? It does look like there's something in there, but it's struggling a bit to get out at the moment. But maybe
we were talking about it on the way back from Burton, or actually in the pub at Burton, because Howard was up there and Howard really likes it, and Andy Gilbert and some of the guys on the South Coast saying they're playing it. So there's definitely sort of a groundswell there. And I said precisely. I actually said at Burton, I think, you know, considering that's the first version, if Hervé's rules go by their way, if they get to second and third edition, there'll be a game, won't there? Yeah,
no, that's true. Although I suppose we've got Ian at the club is also, you know, imminently, or he's always been imminently bringing out his, Andy, what's it called?
Emperor of the Battlefield.
Emperor of the Battlefield.
Emperor of the Battlefield. Have you played that as well? That because that's
I've
the
played
update
one
of
or
his
two bits of it.
18th century rules, isn't it?
King of the Battlefield is the 18th century one.
Yeah.
That's really good. The Emperor of the Battlefield, I think that they're working quite hard playtesting it and getting it up to speed, but I'm not wowed by it. I just think that the way it looks doesn't seem right to me. I think the problem with trying to get two bases of figures to look like it's a column, just the frontages and the side, the footprint of the unit doesn't look quite right to me.
Okay, but if you can abstract that away, because I think scale is one of the things that is people can hang on to it as a problem for picking up new sets of rules, but then at some point your resistance just crumbles, and then you're like, yeah, all right, I'll do, because I guess we all went through that when, well, no, we didn't all go through that, but at the time of moving from multi-base units to one base is one unit in DBM was kind of like, what? And then, even Simon with ADLGR, that kind of whole thing about, oh, bloody hell, 2 base 80 mil wide. And then you do it and you go, oh, actually, I've done it, actually. Oh, I've based up like 4-5 pike and shot units and they look pretty cool. And I've still got a million other figures and it's kind of, it's done, sold, sorted. Once you kind of click into, get past the issue over how basing works. But is it just something that you think you might get over if you played it a lot? There's a good, decent game.
It's possible. I mean, I just haven't really got into playing it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a group of guys that play it fairly regularly.
Yeah.
I
kind of more up to
any
speed.
set of rules takes time to. I mean, we took time to get into ADLG. We didn't like that at first, and I think as long as you play something for a couple of years and you get to you've got to give it time to know the rules, have them in your head rather than sit there reading it. I think there's kind of.
I wouldn't spit it out after one game of it.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, interesting times for the Napoleonics, and that would be good news for your Württembergers then, might it? I guess.
Does that mean roll call? There might be some extra spaces because with Howard and Simon would probably go.
There's definitely one extra. I think there's an extra space. Let me I can probably look online as we speak to see, because we're very, very close to a sellout for roll call. But I think I've told Howard about it, but there's definitely one space for Bataille Empire that would bring them up from 9 to 10. So chase them up for that. I think there's one for DBMM 15 mil, and there's one for Saga. So other than that, it's it's full, which is nice. To get nearly 140 people going into roll
This
call.
means war. This means war.
So let's move along then. Adam, yeah, 'cause you're Mr. playing at entoyment, which must be a temptation. So, and now I'm guessing, unless it was intensive nets over the summer, you've had several months in which you may have been tempted to buy something. And I believe, see you on Zoom only seconds ago wielding a sprue clipping tool with great aplomb.
Yeah, well, it's my hobbiness over the past year or so has been really, really slow until the past month or so. And when we did Beachhead, that got me back into it. So I'm sort of getting back into it. And at Beachhead, I bought some terrain. I got some natty fields rather than using felt cloths, which is nice. But apart from that, I haven't bought anything because I've got loads of stuff sitting in the cupboard from when I was doing loads that I'm now sort of like picking up. So I just started my.
So shall we
15th
pretend
century
that you
French
bought
army.
it? Because in the same way that you're pretending to probably your missus that you've just bought it or something like that. If we pretended you just bought stuff, what has come forward into your possession, as if for the first time, as if by magic, over the last month?
What's come into my possession is a load of stuff from Perry Miniatures, their plastic stuff to do a late 15th century French army.
Okay.
And I've painted up the Swiss contingent because one of the reasons why I'm doing the French is you get Swiss in them and they look nice.
Yeah.
I think the army would be better without them, but they look cool. And I've got to say, the whole Perry Miniatures, the way they design it and the way they do it, really, really does work. Firstly, they're just good. They look good.
Yeah.
And secondly, like I bought a box of their mercenaries, which is basically pike and crossbows.
Yeah.
A box of the foot knights, a box of War of the Roses infantry, which is halberdiers and longbows, which I need for the French, and a couple of boxes of mounted. So it works out like my Swiss pike blocks and mainly the mercenaries. But for the front rank, I've taken some of the bodies from the foot knights, so they're fully armored, and put on this sort of like Swiss pikey arms. And it's designed to do that, and it all looks good. So it's like the Swiss pike blocks. The front rank's all in sort of like plate or 3/4 plate or full plate, and sort of like towards the back, they're all sort of like unarmored. So all the boxes kind of work together and doing the sort of
so you don't feel like because I always thought with that mercenaries box, there's the issue that there's only so many pike arms in it, and you've got 40 odd figures, and you're going to end up with quite a lot of crossbowmen and stuff. But you found a way around that.
But the way I found around that is because the pikes, I needed 2 bases, and I put 12 on a base. And there weren't quite enough. There weren't quite enough pike to even do that.
Yeah. Okay.
You're right, but with Swiss pike blocks, a few of them should be wielding sort of like lucerne hammers and stuff. Anyhow, it wasn't all pike, so I've got a couple of them in the middles. Yeah. I've got one that's playing a drum. I've got one that's sort of like holding a standard. All of a sudden, there's 24 figures.
Okay. All right. Is that two mercenary boxes to get your 24, or just the one?
Just one.
Just one.
And out of that, I got the 2. I got the 24 for the 2 bases of pike. I've got a medium foot base of pole arms, which is part of the contingent, and then some light foot firearms. Yeah, and then I've got some spare crossbows left over as well for more skirmishes, or I might do a base of crossbows just cause. Yeah. So that's that one. Well, that's the one box plus about 5 figures from the foot knights.
And are they going to be in just picking a couple of colours at random here, mostly red and white? Is that the way it'll work?
One base is mostly red and yellow.
Okay, all right.
Which I believe is burn. And the other, and they've got the burn flag, and the other base is blue and light, which I think might be Uri, and they've got a blue and white flag. So yeah, I've done.
They'll be good on that.
Blue and white could be Zug as well, and a couple of others. Can't remember.
I'd go Zug because Zug sounds a little bit more.
I think there were three which were blue and white, 3 which were red and white.
I mean, and sort of like research
red and yellow.
Research says that there might have been a few times when everybody wore the livery, but it was usually just officers and musicians. But if you're doing war games figures, bugger that.
Oh, so God,
they're all sort of that's what I did when I did my 15mm Swiss Army.
Yeah. Well, if you call them Zug, then you've got a little bit more Flash Gordon-esque about them, haven't you, as well? And you can go, Gordon's alive, or something like that in a kind of very.
If I called him a Zug, then someone might think it's a battle group of Meg or something, and we're playing the wrong game.
A Zug. Yeah, are you zugging a tug, tugging a Zug, or something like that? That could be a weird one.
Lucern's blue and white.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, it's educational now this week as well. We'll have to stop this, won't we? Bloody hell.
What I'm doing now
Calm down,
is
lads. Calm down, fellas. It's like that.
I'm just clipping and gluing together the footlights, which I'm really looking forward to painting them, because that's going to involve mainly spraying them still, and that's about it. There might be a few more bit of wash on and some bases, but they're going to be done quite quickly.
Okay, all right, cool, good, all right. So Tamsin, I almost dare not ask. Since November, what are the highlights of the things that you've bought? Is there
Since
anything?
November, very little. I've
just a couple of thousand. No.
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 I've
Get
actually
in.
the only figures I've bought.
Yeah.
It's a pre-order, so I haven't got them yet.
Yeah.
Warlord Games announced a pre-order, an expansion for Judge Dredd to cover Block Wars.
Okay.
So I've got.
Now, is that
so
in
I've
Warlord
ordered that. I
Resin?
should be.
Is
I
that
think
in Warlord
it gets
Resin?
released this month.
But are they going to be in Warlord Resin? That's the question.
It is resin, but I don't know whether it's the old, the old softer resin, or the new one that they've.
Yeah, because I've seen
been
stuff about this new resin on War Games Twitter, and
it's harder, which is meant to be harder, and you can actually file it rather than which makes cleanup a bit easier.
Yeah. So do you know any more about it than me? Because you're like someone who knows people and thinks about this thing, whereas I just look for pictures of cats occasionally and stuff like that. Have you got any insight into it, any feedback on it, or is it just that chap?
I've seen a video on YouTube.
Right. Okay, you watched the video.
Somebody trying it.
Was that the Storm of Steel guy, or was that a different one?
No, it was. I'm not sure where he's based. I think it's America. Sonic Hedgehog.
Oh, Sonic Hedgehog, right? Okay, yep. He
had a video.
Yeah, we say like no, obviously you have Sonic Hedgehog. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it can't be Sonic Screwdriver, is it? No, that's a different one. Yeah, something. Yes, him. I think we know what you mean.
I think it's something like Sonic Hedgehog. He's got.
Yeah. What's his name?
It's Sonic something on YouTube.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yes. Sonic something hammer, isn't it? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he did a quick review. He said, yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
Better than the soft stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you ever have any of the soft stuff?
Almost all of the Judge Dredd.
Oh, we're in the soft.
Has been in that.
Oh, I just assumed they were metals each time we saw them. Yeah.
What's that? Is that like Airfix in the 1970s?
Is it a little bit more than that?
Yeah, it's a little bit like that. It's both the old and the new ones are they're thermoplastics.
Yeah.
So a bit like 3D printing material, but which is thermoplastic, but it's just a different way of doing it.
Because I think I read an article about somebody's experience. What was it? A games manufacturing company. Was it Mears Miniatures or Fierce something? It was a name that I'd heard of that did some sort of fantasy type figures, and the guy was just sort of unloading. I think it was a blog post. He was just unloading about the problems he was having with a Kickstarter, in which he designed this whole range of fantasy figures, and they were going to be third party produced for him in the Siocast material.
Yeah.
But in the time that he's been doing it, the Siocast people have kind of, I think, they've sort of changed what they want, and whether he was originally going to do a 3D printed master, and then they said actually we need it metal, which suddenly gave him an extra bit in the manufacturing process, and then means that the shortcomings of metal suddenly do get transferred to the plastics that you end up casting, and it basically just sounded like I think this stuff is still a technology in development, and it really reminds me of that that I think is actually apocryphal. can we all remember an episode of Tomorrow's World in which they spread jam on a CD and then wiped it off and put it back in the machine and played it when CDs were a new thing? Or is this just me? Yeah, I've looked this up on Tinternet, and apparently it never happened, or there is no record of it. But everybody, or lots of people, remember seeing it. It's just I can see Judith Han, or wherever they were, or probably somebody like that, spreading jam on it and then wiping it off and putting it in the CD and go, ta-da, it works. And I wonder if this Siocast stuff is actually a bit like that, and it's just a material and it's still being improved or changed or whatever, but it came with so much bloody marketing hype that people started thinking it was going to be magic, and actually it's just something that's kind of a bit different, really. But if you take the piss with it, like putting jam on a CD, it will not work, because it's not a magic material at all.
I think it's one of the bits if you're doing Siocast, because of the way you do the molding, you either have to sculpt the figures in a relatively flat pose.
Yes. Yeah.
So you could get away with a rifleman shooting.
Yep.
But you couldn't have a rifleman going like
that. Yeah, holding
going
it
like that.
Arms or something.
Arms both out front.
That's great content for a podcast there.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Can't do a little bit of that. Got to do a little bit of that. Yeah, exactly.
This means war.
But I must admit, that does bring me on to, I'm not sure this was a purchase of mine between, it probably actually wasn't in November. I picked these up in October, end of October at the Selwig show, when we were doing that competition. But on the bring and buy, I picked up one of those 15mm army box sets of the former Corvus Belli guys. In the Siocast, and it's like a 45 quid box set. I think they all started off at 35 quid, and then the price crept up to almost the same price as metals. But you can't get those Corvus Belli figures as metals anymore. They don't make them, so they're quite nice. So I've always quite liked them. So getting some knights for them was a cute thing, and it was in the bring and buy for a tenner. So I think one of the advantages of Siocast is clearly some people really don't like it at all and will just get a shot of it when they see it, and you can pick up some.
Are they any good? Because I always liked Corvus Belli figures. They're always they're always like chubby.
Yeah, they're nice.
They always look a bit cheeky, and I always like them. Very characterful. Do they retain that Corvus Belli?
No, I've got the things painted up. They look exactly the same. They really do. They're fine. I think there's a couple of the spears where it's kind of it's thinned out, like you can imagine plastic where it doesn't quite go to the end of the whatever it is that you squirt plastic into if you're making a mold, but only a couple. I think the weird thing is though, is because they're bendy, they're still bendy, and they don't I've got a base of 3 knights here, and I'm actually thinking I almost should have put them slightly closer together so I could glue them together as a block of 3 instead of having 3 cavalry, because the fact they're glued to the base, which would normally be the thing with metal figures, and then you could pick them up, and you pick up the 2 on the outside, you kind of hold the 2 on the outside, but it sort of squeezes them in because they flex. And I'm wondering if there's going to be an issue with paint flaking off or something like that,
I was going to ask
because they bend. But I don't know, it doesn't seem to be coming off on the spears, which kind of wobble around, and they do move around.
Acrylic paint does sort of can flex a bit as well because it is plasticky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, most paint flex a bit.
Do you need to wash them before you?
I didn't wash them. I just straight undercoated them.
Okay.
But again, this is what I'm starting to think. One of the things I've seen with the Siocast is people go, you can paint them straight out of the packet. And then I'm looking back going, so was that more over enthusiastic marketing bullshit as well? There is no release agent that there is for some other types of resin figures or something. They're just printed in this material. But still, I wouldn't, because of trying to get the colors to ping. These guys, I undercoated them in. I actually undercoated them in black, and they did this azimuth spray. We're getting onto painting now in white to try and give me a whiter base for the paint colors. So I always undercoat stuff anyway from a painting. So I don't really know, but they seem to have taken the thing pretty well. The infantry look great, the cavalry look fine, but it's just the fact they're going to be wobbly when you pick them up, and the whole thing isn't rigid. So maybe they just need to be based in a slightly different way to glue them shoulder to shoulder, so they're a solid lump. Which, given their knights, they're pretty knee to knee anyway. The other thing I'm wondering, and I have seen this once so far, but that may just be, this could happen with metal, so it's only an example of one, is that the figures which the riders are glued onto the horses, but again, because they flex a little bit, that may mean that the glue of sticking the riders to the horse isn't as solid as if it's a solid metal figure on a solid metal horse. But that may be bollocks as well. I'm talking from a sample of one, so it'll be interesting to see how they survive in battle, really. So that was sort of one of my purchases. And then I think what else has there been? The other bit that I've got at the Plymouth show fairly recently, I picked up some more of the little Red 3 144 scale 12mm 10mm World War II bits, because he brought out some new Hanamags with support weapons, and I've already got 6 of the Hanamags in that I've done in a sort of 3-tone German late war camo that I'm really pleased with. So I've got now one with a Pack 40 in it, and I've got one with the short stubby support gun, and I've got a little mortar in the back of a 250 as well. So they're almost ready to matte varnish at the same time as I do all these knights and other bits and pieces. And then, oh God, actually just realized that as well. And then I've also picked up, which I saw on Instagram, the guy, I think it's actually Dan Mersey, the rules writer, I believe. He's got this range of miniatures called Wiglaf, which are kind of proper Dark Ages stuff that are sort of 18mm
Dark Ages. Yeah,
well,
I saw those last year.
So he was saying, I've got some sets of them. Anybody want to buy them? A pack of 8 for a £5 or something. And I thought, yeah, I'll look at them. And so I got 5 a pack sent through Instagram, and they're fabulous figures. They really are amazing. But they are 18mm. I think they're advertised as 18mm, and they're 18mm for sure. I'm looking at them next to certainly next to these Corvus Belli infantry. I'm looking and saying, well, I know which one I put money on winning on in a fight, and it's these Wiglaf infantry.
Are they Legio Heroicus size? Are
they? No, I think they're bigger because they're more properly proportioned. But that doesn't show at all. But they're properly proportioned 18mm figures, really nicely animated. But I'm struggling to see which Dark Age range you'd mix them with, unless you've got some big guys in amongst some of your other ones. They next to my 2 dragons ones, they make the 2 dragons ones look about like dwarves, which isn't difficult to do with 2 dragon stuff. But yeah, so I've got 1 base of those now as some sort of elite general's unit of something, which was one of my other purchases. So just trying to think how we go around. So Andy, do you want to round us off with your last several months of shopping?
Yeah, I bought some stuff from the Museum Miniatures January sale because you feel you have to, else you're missing out,
isn't it? Yeah.
So I've bought some Macedonian pike guys to repurpose and basically have a bunch of Macedonian pikemen who all look consistent.
Okay.
So I've got some of them with their pikes at 75-degree angles, some at 60, some at 90. So you get a kind of cascade effect as they, yeah. Apart from that, I've bought a couple of, I also bought a few of their light cavalry crossbow because I needed them for the Burton show. And that's basically it. Just 1 or 2 little bits and bobs, but nothing really exciting at the moment.
Okay. All right, so just like filling in and bits and pieces then. So are you?
Yeah. Oh no, sorry, I did buy. Well, actually, it's not quite clear whether I bought it or Ruth bought it. I've got a particularly special numbered birthday coming up this weekend, and Ruth said, "Well, I'll buy you some figures." So I bought Simon's old late Renaissance army.
Okay.
And then said to Ruth, right, this is what it costs. And she says, well, you owe me money for stuff I bought at the weekend, so I'll knock off what you owe me thing. So I ended up buying an army for myself from her, and I still owed her money. And if someone could explain to me the economics of how that works, I'd be very grateful.
Have you ever met your wife before? It's like, because
yes.
I don't think the rest of us have got any puzzle about that at all. That sounds entirely credible and believable.
Well, the way I
I've
met
got
her
a
was
bridge
bit
I need
odd.
to sell you as well. I think it's while we're at it.
Well, I mean, I suppose I should have known better. I mean, we did actually
Yes.
meet at an airport where she dropped a suitcase on my foot.
Yes, indeed. And it's all been wheeling uphill by then. So all right. Well, look, on that airport foot dropping note, I think that's time to move on from our shopping section.
This means war.
Okay, well, look, we're now into a section that, even as we sit here thinking about this, because we're out of practice at doing all this stuff, we suddenly realize may well be, let me tell you, I just painted what I told you I just bought. Possibly that might be the new title for it, but maybe someone's dragged something else up out of the footlocker of wargaming stuff to bring in, to see what the painting highlights, and from a, what maybe it's what new techniques or anything new that you've done painting wise that you've learned. And Adam, yeah, go on, start us with you're in fact almost minutes ago you were telling us you're going to spray something silver and you'd be done, but have you done that in the meantime, or is there other stuff to talk about?
No, I haven't. I just thought because it's good for a podcast, I just thought I'd show you the painted figures that I've done. We were talking about Swiss pike blocks.
Yes,
and you were right. There's not enough pikes in it to have a full pike block for 2 bases of 24 figures.
Okay.
So I just thought I'll show you not so much the painting, but how that worked out. So this is one of them, if you can see that. So there's a couple of chaps in there.
Yeah.
A couple of chaps in there with hammers and a flag. And here's the other ones. So together, that looks quite a good.
So how did you, given they've got quite a lot of metal, I guess, in that look, but then they've also got white and yellow, and we could probably do a whole series on yellow. What was your base coat, undercoat thing? Did you?
This entire army, I'm going with a black undercoat, which does make yellow somewhat problematic.
Yeah.
But I get around that by 2 things. Firstly, my attitude. And my attitude is I want to paint them so they look good enough for somebody that doesn't do toy soldiers will go, oh, wow, that looks impressive. Okay. So I've given up on the idea of building up subtle shades of colours. I say I've given up. I never had it anyhow. But now I've sort of now I've come to terms with I never will.
Yeah, with your incompetence, yeah.
And the second thing I do with yellow is I always on top of the black base I paint a layer of sand, which has got quite good coverage, and I put yellow over the top of that. So again, I'm not sure, and back's probably the best. I'm not sure if you can see that, but the yellows actually came out quite bright.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that get the Tamsin seal of approval as a technique, going with sand on black?
That's what I do over black.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. And white, it just gets a cream base before I put. Well, I don't use white. I use ivory over the top.
Yeah. The colour I put underneath yellow. When going over black primer, it depends on sort of what sort of shade of yellow I'm after. Might do yellow ochre. Might do tan yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
even flesh colours can be good.
For my technique, I'm mainly after the shade that's yellow. So it's sand with yellow on top. Right. I suppose there's 2 different attitudes towards painting toy soldiers there.
Yeah. No, definitely. Good. Okay. So how have you been are you kind of suddenly going, this is brilliant, I'm motoring now, I'm going to do like loads more, or is it just like, oh, it's a bit of a drag?
I have.
It's a while since you've done them.
I haven't actually painted for about a year. I had about a year off. And the last batch I did was the medium foot and the skirmishes for this. And I did them in about a week. They were uncoated and I did them about a week, and I quite enjoyed it. It's like, that's good. So having a break is if it's starting to get to be a bit of a drag and chore, because it was a case of, I've got to do that batch, and then oh, geez, do I have to? And I just sort of like stopped halfway through a batch. So yeah, having a break, I would recommend it if it's getting boring. Because now I'm like, as you can see, I'm here doing my next batch, and
as we speak,
some are waiting to be undercoated. So yeah, sometimes a rest is good for you to reignite the enthusiasm.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, that does sound like it applies in many areas of life, I suspect. So, yes, but we won't go into that. That's another different podcast in our series, I think, somewhere in a different parallel universe. Okay. So, all right. And so, Dave, what I presume there's stuff that you've been painting that's, because you were still doing some enormous project for someone else, weren't you? Are there any painting techniques or bits and pieces that have come onto your palette over the last few months?
The Williamite army has been finally finished and was the last bases of. I reckon when we were at Burton, I realised I must be the world's largest producer of 15mm dragoons on bases.
Dragoons do become countless numbers, don't they? For sure.
So that's all done and dusted, but I've got more to do to add for that. I've got Ming Chinese yet to go, but that's going to be interesting.
Oh God, is that another one you're doing for someone else then?
Yes, it's all the same person.
Wow. Okay.
He's given me
There's a few more colours though, isn't it? I guess.
He's given me sort of some research books to carry. I've had to carry back as well, which is going to be interesting.
Oh, wow.
That's good. I always like reading stuff.
Yeah. Good resource. Good resource on. There's a blog. I think it's called Ming Military.
Is it the dragon?
Ming Military. Wow.
Is this the Flash Gordon episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ming the Military.
I've got a big hardback, Soldiers of the Dragon. I've got to read.
Yeah.
It sounds like people who do blogs and books. It sounds like a lot of people who do blogs and books.
Stuff in your spray books is actually wrong.
Yeah. Not unusual.
Yeah. So it's one color to avoid on Ming soldiers, white.
Okay.
I thought you're not allowed to use yellow for Chinese or something.
No, that's a little bit racist, Dave. We don't do that.
Oh, I know, but no. There was somebody said I because I painted all my ancients, or is it blue or something? I don't know.
Is there some dye they didn't have historically? You mean
exactly? Which we always assume they were using, because we always think they're red and yellow or something. Anyway, blah blah blah. But the other thing,
but avoid white because that's funeral color in China.
Yes,
always has been.
Okay, all right. Oh, that's
when you say always has been. Is that as far back as Han and?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the opposite of Western using black for mourning. They use white.
Cool. Okay. All right. So you've been.
But apart from that, it's been Vikings. Vikings are all painted, all based, ready to go.
So how so with Vikings, because it's that classic European Dark Age, and there's certainly I always found when you're doing a big army like that, there's a point at which you realise I'm painting all these little buggers brown, and how do I make them more interesting without making them ridiculous? So what was your balance on that?
Quite a few different. When I started off, with everybody with paints, you start off with all the brights, blues, yellows, reds, and all that. And gradually over the years, I've muted down. So I've got a lot of the Vallejo German World War II colours.
Okay, yeah.
So you get this sort of like Middlestone and
I'm looking at it now.
Blue, and so they're all sort of grey blues.
Yeah.
So that's what I use. It's ochre-y sort of colours, and that gives you the variation. So you can actually sit there and paint a guy in 3 shades of brown and ochre, and it actually looks quite good. And then
I suppose the uniforms were all designed by Hugo Boss, wasn't it? Or not Bosch, Boss, and even the Oakley stuff. It's like,
the trouble with Vikings is actually determining which ones are the. I mean, it's all like saying, like the ones with the axes are the Huskarls, and the ones with the swords and the spears are the warriors. But for someone who doesn't know the figures you're sitting there with, it's what I've ended up with putting flowers on the Huskarl bases to say, right, that's a Huskarl.
Yeah.
But the Forged in Battle are really good because they've got this like base of Vikings with trophies with.
Okay.
So there's guys with ducks and there's guys with bags and things. They look really great. I love them.
Yeah.
Nice. So I mean, we'll move on to that because we'll talk about that when we get to Burton. But they're going to northern France now.
They're going to northern France soon.
Go and invade their homeland.
Yeah.
This means war.
Okay. Well, look, I'll take my life in my hands and move over to Tamsin in terms of your highlights from November onwards. Which I think you may have just muted yourself. That wasn't me. It's
we're into pictures.
Oh, we're into pictures. There's lizard people. I can see.
Right. Yep.
So this is the highlight. The lizard. Wow.
No, it's not a highlight.
People.
It's one of.
Yeah.
So as always, I'm taking part in the Analog Hobbies Painting Challenge, and first entry with some clicks for 2000 for Judge Dredd.
Yeah. Lovely.
Followed by, you remember I printed the Judge Dredd bust at different sizes. This was 50% size, which I did black and white.
So this one's in your hallway then, isn't it? And it looks like it's blocking the door to the lounge, possibly. That sort of size. Is that the one?
No, it's only about 4 inches tall.
Okay, all right. Perspective's weird. Yeah.
So is that painted black and white rather than black and white?
Yeah, that's painted black and white.
Cool. That's really cool.
Did that because this year on the challenge, the theme map is film studios.
Yeah.
So I did that for the black and white studio, and
that's neat.
finally got round to finishing some German AFEs.
And what scale are these?
Those are 28 millimeter.
128 mil. Okay.
Wow, is that airbrushed?
Partly airbrushed.
Are you using those weathering powders?
No, not on that.
Okay.
I did the sort of dusting on that. I did actually do using an airbrush.
Okay. All right.
Just fit. I
always keep looking at weathering
dusty
powders.
coloured paint.
I always keep looking at weathering powders and think, oh, I wonder what the hell they are, and if they're. But if
I have used weathering powders to make out.
Okay.
And I did a couple of pulp figures.
Adventurers, yeah.
Yeah.
Baddies with all that three.
Female cowboy.
Yeah.
Some 15 millimeter Numidian light horse for my Romans.
That's enough, isn't it?
The Roman cavalry.
Those look like Lancashire Games guys by the looks of it.
Yeah, they are.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
Some Germanic cavalry.
Yeah.
Is that Germanic or Gallic?
I don't think think with this audience there's any difference really, is there?
Yeah, it's
I'm not
Gallic
sure without discerning. Yeah.
These are Gallic cavalry.
Okay. Yep. Nice bit of stripiness.
Some 1980s Citadel drow figures.
Okay.
Dark elves.
The Arkell Drowls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Massive Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, there was studio. One of the studios was described as Arts House, so I decided to take that literally and painted up a crate. It's 4 inch by 2 by 2 crate.
Mondrian. Is that Mondrian?
Mondrian.
Yeah, look at that.
Mondrian.
You get all your culture here, don't you, on this podcast?
Yeah.
It's like,
that was a bugger to paint.
Yeah, that does look more challenging than some things for sure.
Yeah, especially on a 3D print with all the layer lines.
Yeah. You made
it. Some more Judge Dredd figures. This time, sort of Wally Squad undercover judges.
Okay. So that's quite
Jack
deep
Point,
undercover.
the simping detective.
Mm.
Dirty Frank and Amy Nixon.
Mm. Okay.
And another sort of pulp adventuress.
Yep. There's plenty in there. Yeah. We're rocking through. So, another Judge Dredd.
75% scale, so 6 inch tall Dredd bust.
Yep.
Same bust, but larger.
In colour.
And in colour.
Yep. No, that's good. There he is, looking from the front.
Tim, you're to commission Tamsin to do the trophies for Brixham.
No, I need to keep them terrible for Brixham.
Just show the scale of the two busts against a 28mm figure.
That's starting to be a serious amount of resin in a 3D printer. That must have taken you like a week to do or something.
That looks like your version of Rushmore.
For printing, the tool one was about 18-hour print.
Wow.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that does need to speed
18
up.
hours to print. So I was doing it on fairly low layer height.
Yeah.
Most recent, a hobgoblin.
Right. Was that not pint of beer? That's a little hobgoblin. Yeah.
Again, a sort of early 80s Citadel.
Yeah. Retro figures.
And I've also finally got around to starting work on that 28mm spaceship.
Okay.
Canvas spaceship.
Yeah.
So it's got the interior details done and sort of the end plate.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The engine's out the back and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah. So actually, while we're on this subject of spaceships, question for you all: is Drummer the best character on the Expanse by far, or is it Amos? Because I can't decide between the two. Drummer's just great, isn't it?
Drummer. But
Amos,
as someone who's been reading the books,
I like the English actor who plays the pirate type. Well, okay,
David Strathairn.
Yeah, because I like all their made up South African slang, weird pirate talk they have.
Yeah, but but Drummer or Amos is such a difficult question. Like choosing your favourite child. It's like
what the Ashwin are you not talking about?
Belter Creole slang, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. It's a complete mix of languages. It's not just South African. It's really Russian, French, Spanish.
Yeah. Simon, I'm assuming you know all about this as well, or you? Yeah, it's just Adam then. And so right, The Expanse is on Amazon Prime, and it's the best sci-fi thing there is. It's like real proper politics and all the rest of it, and it goes on for 100 series, and it's based on books, and it's just really, 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 really good. Apart from about the first 4 or 5 episodes where there's some cheesy nonsense with a noir detective with a funny hat, that you've just got to punch your way through that, and by the time you get to about episode 5 or 6, it's just suddenly into it, and it's bloody brilliant.
Okay, I'll give it a go, but I must say I do like noir detectives, and I quite like funny hats, so I might even enjoy.
No, you might be straight in then.
He's got pork pie hat.
Pork pie hat.
It starts off trying to be cyberpunk, and it realises very quickly it shouldn't be, and goes into space
opera politics. Yeah,
but the best bit
it actually follows the books very well on that.
Is the old pirate guy when he starts singing his stupid sea shanties.
Yeah, there's pirate guys singing sea shanties. So Adam, you've got a lot to look forward to.
In space.
That character and Drummer are completely different from how they are in the books.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, look, so maybe we've got a future thing of Adam, tell us what we already know happened in the episodes of The Expanse then. That's a possibility, isn't it?
Yeah, because you say the pirate guy singing sea shanties, the noir detective in a funny hat sounds more interesting to me, but I suppose I'll find out.
It's all worked together into one great story.
So the detective in the hat, first two seasons.
First 2 seasons, yeah. And then we won't tell you anymore. 2 seasons,
and then comes back in the 4th.
No, we won't tell you.
So
just zoom, finish it. Yeah. But I think, we just need you to answer the question, Drummer or Amos, who is your favourite child? That's the real thing. Maybe we should put a vote on the website or something. Right, okay, then let's look around. Simon, what about you? You've clearly been painting. You said you painted a bit, but is there any stuff that you were kind of lagging along that had been painted as well? Or has your main effort been, oh my God, I'm painting 28mm ancient people that I've had to glue together?
At the moment, I'm currently enjoying painting the 25mm ancient Greek guys. So having a bit of fun trying to paint the cavalry with trying to do on the horse blankets and all that, to make them a bit more interesting at 25mm. So they've been good fun.
So this being a kind of effectively a whole new army at a sort of newish scale with a complete set of figures that you bought in one. Have you gone, right, this is a chance to try something different painting wise, because this will be a coherent army? Or have you just kind of gone, let's roll with what I normally do?
Have you approached it differently at all? So I'm using a combination of the contrast paints.
Yeah.
They've been quite interesting. So trying to do that. Trying to do things like, so I've got some gripping beasts generals to make the generals really obvious. So they've got quite a lot of detail around the horse barding, all that. So I've gone to try to go the effort of highlighting those and giving them some different contrast or paints. So when I say contrast, I mean use white paint, just to try and light that up. and trying to get the golden bangles and all that of the armor and all that all lit up and something a bit more interesting, and doing different shades on the blankets and all that, just to make it, especially 25 mil, say a little bit different.
Are you kind of mixing, not literally mixing the paint, but are you mixing some of the figure with contrast paints and some of the figure with normal paints, or are you going contrast paints for the horses because they work well and normal paints for the others, or because contrast can be a bit definitive?
I'm using a mixture of both. So example here, I've got some, I think these are the Warlord miniature old Roman legionnaires, the plastic ones. So a majority of it is done in the just classic paints like red, silver, and all that. But then say I've got one of the Aquitas. I've got a big metal banner with the wolf hat on top of his head. So I've done the contrast paints for that, for the browns and all that.
The fur, it works really well, doesn't it?
And then on the mounted, so I've got like the reds and the greens and blues. They're all contrast paints to give it that different color. Then other ones I've just used more simplistic and their colors, and then the army painter soft wash. That's basically a level of paint.
Right. Okay. So it's basically you're using the soft tone to make normal flat paints have that same depth as contrast paints do straight out of the box. So everything is now about paint generated shading rather than painting layers in the way that Tamsin does, I guess.
I've tried to do the way Tamsin and Dave does the layering, and to say they needed stripping afterwards was a slight understatement. So I've realized my level of skill, that I'm very much like Madam was thinking for his Swiss. I just want 3 at the 3 foot rule, so that they look decent en masse and all that. That's the level I can go for. I'll defer to the experts for the high quality.
For the layering and stuff like that. Okay. All right.
This means war.
I'm just trying to think who else we've Andy, have we come to you yet? Is it
no
on painting? Well, let's come to you. And has your wife charged you for any painting that you've done?
Mostly not yet. Can't see
outsourced it to you and then recharged you and you end up out of pocket?
No, it's only when it comes to presents. So stuff I buy myself, those rules don't apply. I've been painting fairly sporadically. I mentioned mainly the stuff I painted recently. I'm currently painting a load of World War II 10mm figures from Pendragon, which I bought at Selwig. Not really realizing I already had them until I found some in the cupboard. So I've now got shed loads of them.
Yep. All right. Okay. Well, I guess you do need shed loads for some rule sets. It was when we had a go at playing O group and realized that you needed like 27 bases for an infantry formation or something like that. It was quite
I've actually played a few games of O group recently. I quite liked it.
I think there's definitely stuff in there.
You need a lot of terrain for it. But in terms of the number of figures, it's not huge.
Okay.
You need about 27 to 30 bases, including bits like commanders and forward officer, observation officers, and things like that. But I've been reasonably impressed with it. I've enjoyed playing it.
I think the first couple of times I played it, I struggled to work out the difference between when you use the normal command chits and when you use those extra bonus sort of CNC's command chits.
It is a different mindset to right, let's just turn up, put the figures on and push them around a bit. You need to sort of kind of think as a proper commander, think, what is my plan? Where am I putting people, and not just stack them high and throw them forward.
But I think I was saving up all the general's command, or the
I think
high level
we tend to do the same, because they make a difference to your initiative, and if you win the initiative, you get a free ordinary order anyway. Okay.
All right. So it was correct, because I just sort of found by the end of it, I was keeping them all, and then I was like, isn't there a point I should be spending these? But I don't know, maybe I need to have another. Well, I do need to have a few more.
Well, you've got the tension and think, is it? Is it am I going to get the payoff for using one of my orders now?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the judgment that is the skill in the rules, I guess, or
Well, part of it, yes. I mean, obviously, it can go horribly wrong. But I've only played about 3 or 4 games, so I wouldn't class myself as an expert. But the actual mechanics of, how do you shoot, how do you move, and how do you test morale and stuff, that actually works very easily.
Okay. No, that bit does. Yeah, it's really. I think that's really good. It was just how to use the order system properly, which I think just must come through experience. Okay. And in terms of painting, then any techniques and things that you picked up or added to the repertoire over the last few months, or given different stuff a try?
Not really. I mean, I'm the jury's kind of out on these contrast paints. I'm not. I think some of them are a bit weak and watery, and I'm not entirely comfortable with the effects I get with some of them. And also on small figures, are you really going to see the contrast?
Yeah,
that's my.
Yeah,
I think if you for what Simon's doing when you're doing 25mm figures where you can spot the things properly, I think there's more of a value in doing it for those than for 15 or 10mm figures.
Yeah, no, I think that's a reasonable. That's a reasonable.
You say that, but I've seen good results down on 2mm figures using contrast paints.
2mm?
Yeah.
Dave, it's the new rock and roll. Are they the
because it's just one coat for the uniform.
Yeah.
And you can get the dark. You can actually, if you use right paints, it depends how much contrast there is in the contrast paint or speed paint.
I tried using
between the darkest shadow and the highest bit.
I tried using contrast paints on my hair roller armies, and that didn't work too well because it all just sort of like slid off to the bottom.
Yeah,
the legendary hair roller armies. Yeah, okay, all right. So it's a tricky one, isn't it? I suppose. Well, but again, it's another thing that it's not bloody magic, is it? It's not gonna. It's horses for courses. It's just another thing in the repertoire. That's it. That's the way it works, I guess. Right. Well, I guess in terms of my painting since November, God, that's quite some time ago, isn't it? So I guess the big thing, a lot. But I think the big thing was finally biting the bullet and painting that Spartacus army that I only finished very recently, that I had waiting in the to-do pile since summer 2019, when I kind of won it in a raffle at a competition in Rome. I'd never really got around to painting it. I bought, I think, another couple of units of people to pad it out a bit, but it was just a lot of peasants. So because it was a discrete army that isn't going to morph into anything else, it's always just going to be this. I don't need the figures to be compatible with anything else. I kind of decided to try and paint them in a slightly different way and see if I could do it. So I undercoated them all black. And then I tried a Tamsin thing of an azimuth spray of white from above that was supposed to, was supposed to pick out all the highlights and make the contrast paint really work better. But I didn't have an airbrush. I tried to do it with a spray can, and frankly, it didn't work. So I ended up with a sort of azimuth-ish effect, but I ended up with a lot of kind of grey figures, really. The lower parts of them were darker than the higher parts of them, so it was sort of halfway there. But so I had to enhance the highlighting with some white sort of dry brushing or damp brushing or whatever before I then threw contrast paints at them. And I bought some extra contrast paints.
Congratulations, you've discovered Slapchop.
Slapchop, I discovered. Well, I knew Slapchop before actually, but I didn't expect. I thought the azimuth spray would do Slapchop for me, but I had to do it because the azimuth spray was a bit shit because I didn't have an airbrush. Is the long and the short story version of that?
Even with an airbrush, you do sort of Slapchop, or more properly, Grisaille.
Yeah, exactly. That's the new rock and roll. So you
do need to still need to pick out bits with a dry brush.
Yeah, definitely. But I brought a whole set of, or I bought some more GW contrast paints in sort of more toned down colors, because I'd got most of mine were quite bold. So I had a range of slightly more toned down colors that I used on nearly all of the peasants. But my big thing was actually doing my first ever army with proper sort of 4-point, 5-point faces, which I'd never done before. I'd always been freaked out by faces, and I'd always tried and it had looked shite. So this time I did it. I painted the faces and the hands brown. In fact, I used contrast dark oath flesh as the brown, and then I got a magnifying glass on a little funny arm, and looked at it from kind of close up, and did a little bit across the forehead, nose, 2 cheeks, chin, on all these little guys. And it was a pain in the ass, given that I normally just paint them pink and just use a wash to try and do all that stuff for me. But it looked really cool. And I'm now like doing that terrible thing where you look at all the other 30,000 figures that you've got and go, should I go back and do faces on all of them? Would that be a possibility?
Makes a big difference.
It does. It does. It's a very different style. It really, really is. And I'm like going, should I go back? And you could, no, there's thousands of the little bastards. I can't, my life's too short to do that. But I think going forward,
it also gives you a purpose for paint. This is a technique which I learned years ago. You paint, block in the paint, then do the face.
Yeah.
Then you actually identify with the figure more.
Yeah. Yes.
And want to paint it.
Yes. Yeah. Oh God, there's some like the little chubby chaps. There's some Strategia Nova, this really obscure Italian manufacturer who was at the Worlds in Rome in 2019, with these really cute range of 50mm, and they've got great faces. Well, they've got big heads and great faces, really detailed. And you can see the hair on the kind of the Celtic ones and things like that in bunches down the side of them. They're a real hoot, these little guys. So I did really enjoy doing that, but whether I will go back to all of my other ancient armies and add faces to them because they're already done and they're all ranked up and it'd be nonsense, I doubt very much. But that was kind of the big project, and having a whole Spartacus army with a few different little options, but not too many. I didn't go too crazy this time. All sits there, and I'm really chuffed with it. I just need to decide when I take it, wheel it out to something where it will be fun, but I won't get my ass kicked with it too much, because I think it is still pretty rubbish.
I've had to fight against one of those armies, and they are a bit of a pain because they just go wide and you just push into the soft bits of the opponent. So they're not necessarily bad to play with. No,
I think but I've used the People's Crusade, which is the other version of it, or or the same sort of impetuous peasant army. But I think the weird thing is, I think the People's Crusade is better because it's got 4 medium knights in it in the list. So I'm looking at Spartacus going, this is a substandard version of a fundamentally substandard list I've already played with that's better than this one. But equally, now they've got lovely little faces. They'll all be good. I'm toying with taking it to roll call, but I'm not sure I will. And then the other bit is these guys who are the plastic ones. From that box set that it's not going to show either really, but not in this light, I don't think. On this one, is that better? No, still not. But I've done these in a very different, well, I've done faces on them, of course, because that's my new thing now, but I've done them in a very different style. So they're barded knights, and I've done them in bold colors. It was picking up some stuff from, I think I was playing Christophalos in the one dayer in Manchester in November, sometime like that, and he had some knights. I think they might have even been these figures that were bold colors in just quarters on the horse barding, and then I think he put the knights and the shielding, and the shields didn't necessarily match with the horse barding. So the livery on the shields is sometimes different to the livery on the barding, and I was like looking at the pictures of the game thinking, that looks a bit weird, but it looks quite striking, because if you have the barding and the shields the same, which is clearly sensible and right, but it can make them look a bit monochrome, or one color. And so having a slightly different shield to the barding gives them a little bit more interest, and you don't quite notice what's wrong until you look at it for a long period of time, and you go, oh, he's got a different shield. He's got blue and white shield and purple and white horse barding. And, maybe he fell off or something and had to hitch a ride, or they swapped horses. I don't know, just for fun. So that's been the other kind of big-ish project. There's like 21 knights, and I've got some cute little mixed spearmen and crossbowmen infantry that I tried to do a 15mm version of Tony Rodwell's amazing 28mm from Plymouth as well. to copy one of his shield patterns. So that's been my kind of two main projects over the last few months, all small scale stuff, but really kind of trying new paint techniques, really, which some of which I'm quite pleased with, and I think I'm going to stick with going forwards. So in terms of going forwards, let's go forwards to the next break.
This means war.
So we're into the games you've played, competitions, and unfortunately, given this was since November, we were just doing a recollection there in the musical interlude, and I think there's been about 842, which we're going to struggle to fit into 20 minutes. So maybe it's a question of some of the highlights. So Adam, you ran a tournament recently,
and very well
promoting it on this podcast. And
yeah,
a great success it was.
It was lovely, really, wasn't it? It was quite relaxed. It was only 30 people, which for a historical
Beachhead, isn't it?
thing, Beachhead in Bournemouth, for a historical thing, it was the largest one there. And next year, I'm going to see if I can get more people to come by doing more to advertise it than mention it on this podcast once.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was just nice because everyone turned up. They played nicely. It was fun games. I didn't get to play because there weren't even a amount of people, but it was just like really easy and really relaxed. So
I actually thought the Beachhead show had a better mix of traders for us historical fans this year than it did the previous year as well. It was really developing into a proper thing, isn't it? You know, with good footfall certainly on the Saturday as well. It seemed a pretty good event.
Yeah, no, all round it was. I think it has now become one of the sort of standard items on the calendar, which is always good.
Yeah, which is good. And so I think Dave, you must have played at it because you played at them all. How did you do?
Right, it's been so many competitions.
Beachhead?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which one was
Chariots. It was.
No, I use Ugarit.
Tiny little chariots. Yeah.
I use Ugarits. No, did I? Yeah, I use Ugarits.
Yeah.
Yes, I used Ugarit, and I stole Rafa's version, but molded it slightly. I was doing quite well at the end because I ended up playing Mike Bennett in the final game, who just ran away to make sure he won the competition.
Oh, he got a draw out of you.
I got a winning draw.
Okay.
But I think I did all right.
Yeah.
Andy, you came ahead of me, and I think.
Andy, did you get a trophy at that one?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And I was allowed to put it in the living room. It's quite decent.
Wow, excellent. Hey, how did that happen? How
much were you charged for that?
Yeah.
Well, Adam's got better taste than you when it comes to trophies, but I understand there's a theme going on with the Brixham one, so I won't be too rude about it. But yes, I mean, I used Hebrews. I had 4 wins out of 5. The one I didn't win was against Mike Bennett, and I lost that one with about 3 minutes to go, but I had deployed badly, so I can't really complain too much.
Okay.
I remember what happened to me. I lost the first game to an absolute newbie.
You did, didn't you?
It was his
you bunny surfed all the way up.
Yeah. And I was dreadful. I flank marched. My flank march never came on, and I had to inform him that my army had collapsed, and he was in shock at his first competition to play something and do that.
Brilliant.
That was a good highlight. That was a good highlight.
That's good. Excellent. So Andy, you we mentioned Brixham there. So I had the great honour of handing you one of Brixham's near legendary dreadful trophies. I think from was that 15s or 25s? So was it
25s?
25. So how did you? So 2 trophies in 2 events.
Yes.
In
yes, I used the feudal English, and I came second. I had 3 wins and 1 draw and 1 defeat.
Yeah,
and only beaten by Mr. Allen in terms of overall points. So that was good.
Okay.
And then I was joint second, narrowly ahead of you, I think, at the Oxford one.
Yes, no, I was 4th in Oxford. So I think you may be. Yeah, there was 2 people in joint second. So I was
Harrison
4th.
was the other one. Yeah.
So you've actually picked up 3 trophies then in since we last.
Kind of. Well, except at Oxford, the trophy was you got your money back, which was never a bad thing.
Well, it's compared to the Brixham trophy, that's
but
that's probably a win, isn't it?
Normal surface kind of kicked in at Burton, so no trophy, no podium finish, but we still had fun, and 2 out of 4, so that's not too bad.
Yeah.
And the one I lost was to Richard K, so that doesn't really count like a defeat anyway, because Richard always beats everyone.
Yeah, exactly. That's all
So
fine,
how did you do in Bournemouth then, Tim?
I think nobody else is. I think I ended up winning in the 25mm period after you forced me not to play with the 15mm Hittite army that I was hoping to use, which was sort of a salvage job of the last knockings of Clive's 2 sheds. It was just must have been a DBMM army that was just unusable. It was just completely broken. But there were loads of bases with no chariots, no wheels, nothing, and I had to buy extra chariots off Essex and rebuild the entire army. And this was going to be the time it was going to get used, but there was odd numbers in both periods, and I'd offered to float, so I ended up having to use a slightly tweaked version of my Assyrian army, which is my 28mm one with the wallpaper on the chariots. And I'd used it before at roll call, I think 2 or 3 years ago, and might have been just pre-COVID, and come second with it, and I tweaked it because this was a period that went from the biblical into the early classical, so I added a few more heavy foot to it, and I think I took out a couple of cavalry or something.
Is that the one with the medium foot with the man boobs?
With the what boots?
The man boobs.
The man boobs. No, I don't think I was. Was I using them? Oh no, I think there was that base. Yes, there was the man boob, medium foot. Yes, there were. Yeah, absolutely. I knew you'd remember that one and remind me of it. But who did you share a room with at Burton? But I think but no, it worked because it was solid, and there was quite a lot of people who were trying to do shooting, and my elite armored heavy infantry just sort of marched into them and chopped them up, which was lovely. But it did mean they got really, really close and got some great photos of Ian Speed's kind of remarkable painting on that absolutely enormous 33 unit army that he had, with just remarkable looking things. But my guys unfortunately just marched into it, and I think that was one of my lowest casualties that I suffered in the whole weekend. So that was that. And then what else was there? So warfare we'd done. I got beat by Rafa in the last round of that. I in the one day, where I came fourth with a Spanish army with 2 wins and 1 defeat, which was basically just charge all these impetuous foot at whatever was in front of them, and they won twice and lost once.
This means war.
But look,
the big one is Alicante. Tell us about that.
Actually, yeah, I suppose Alicante was. That was an epic trek, wasn't it? For some of us, a long flight. Simon, Dave, that was a back to international travel, wasn't it? It was an early morning Heathrow start when we just snuck in. Dave was lucky enough to bump into me on the tube, and unfortunately you weren't, which meant, as my soon expiring BA Gold card managed to comp us both into the first class lounge for free breakfast. But I'm sure your Costa was lovely. Whatever it was that you had in Heathrow, I'm sure that was a highlight. That maybe there was a £4.80 croissant or something in there.
It was total quality where I went, but that's okay. It's fine. You can have the lounge. Good.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be another opportunity. It was just pure chance that we met on the tube, and then we did Alicante. Well, no, we did Valencia. We did the military museum in Valencia that we didn't even plan to go to before we went, and we didn't really know whether it was going to be any good, which was kind of weird, wasn't it? It was
massive.
It was massive. And when we went in, we thought there's about 2 rooms and about 6 cannons, and then you sort of went into this warren at the back. There was everything.
It felt like it was like the Valencia city barracks type of thing. So you sort of come in the tradesman's entrance past the garage, the boiler, and the heater. There's, as you said, a couple of World War II cannons and stuff from World War I and all that.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden we found these almighty rooms with 15 and 18 mil Napoleonic siege of Valencia.
Yeah.
Various other things. There was a whole room on tercios and stuff like that.
There was a whole room full of little models of castles, wasn't there, from all around Spain? the Civil War flags. There was a horse's gas mask, which that's not a euphemism. That was actually a horse's gas mask. There was an early Dalek. Do you remember the Spanish Dalek? It's good. Huge collection of guns. An 88.
Basically, any gun you could want, from a pistol. We saw also what was quite neat for those like me as a Renaissance nut. They had one of the most early of the handguns.
Yeah.
Like an 1100 handgun, whereas literally a brass pipe.
Yeah.
With a tree branch, like a branch of wood stuck behind it.
Yeah.
And you just imagine some guy going, "Here, trust me, put something in that, light it, and point at the enemy. She'll be right."
Yeah, God. Well, there was so much stuff.
Yes.
I've actually uploaded a video of just all the pictures from that military museum. So that's on my YouTube channel that you can run through it. And then, my God, we ate some food as well, didn't we? There was
just for research purposes, yeah.
Just for research purposes, we were straight into it.
Friday night meal in Alicante was good.
It's fantastic, wasn't it? That
very, very good.
Grilled cuttlefish and Dave Allen's shirt when that arrived as well. Yeah. That was quite spectacular. Horrible. Yeah, and
there were quite a few Brits who gone. It was kind of their first trip to war game abroad. There was a Scots guy.
Yeah, there's a couple of Scots, Fraser and
Fraser. Mark Fry had never been.
Mark Fry done. Yeah, we dipped them gently into the European circuit, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was a really good meal on the Saturday night. The team meal that pretty much everyone went to. That kind of plates and plates and plates of tapas.
I was a bit cream crackered by that point.
I was sat opposite the two, Gordon and Fraser. I was sat opposite, and then they brought a round of beers in seconds before the guy organising the event came around and started putting pictures of beer on the table, because apparently it was included in the price that we were all paying that we didn't know. So the faces of two Scotsmen who bought a round they didn't need to buy when beer was free was just one of the absolute highlights of it. They were just like, this is culturally inappropriate for us to be doing this. It was really quite frightening. But yeah, as you say, this Berber army that Dave had taken apart painfully and brutally with your, what was it, with your samurai?
I took the samurai, yeah.
And we'd had one practice game after I'd submitted my list, and my army was just utterly rubbish.
I think I destroyed it in an hour and a half, didn't I?
I couldn't lay a finger on it. I was lucky to come second in that game. I was just like thinking, because the theme of the competition was you had to have a strategist.
Yeah.
So
I think that was a crucial thing. Was
yeah.
Weirdly enough, that being forced to have the strategist was a weird one, because everybody went with large initiative in order to, and then they chose to defend in their chosen terrain, which was a really weird one.
Yeah.
I've still got to get my brain around what was happening with that competition, because the strategist meant that everybody became sort of terrain specific.
Focused.
So, I mean, there's one game I lost the initiative to a Timurid army, and he defended on the steppe.
Yep.
Took all the rough going and put it in all the corners, so there was nowhere for my samurai to go at all.
Oh dear.
And then I just but that was the only game I think I lost, but it was just because I lost the initiative.
Yeah. Well, I'd taken
my army was like dependent on having a big initiative, winning the initiative, defending in plains, sticking loads of rough terrain in, and shooting the hell out of my enemy with my bowfire.
But with everybody else with high initiative, because the strategist, that just didn't really work, did it? Yeah. No. And I think Simon, how was your gaming weekend in Alicante?
Mine was up and down. So I got absolutely smacked by a couple of players, which.
What was your army? What did you take?
I brought the free company, so the one that I brought to warfare, because I got to the point I couldn't decide, so I brought the same I brought to warfare, which it won warfare. Go figure.
Okay.
This weekend, the drunken hooligans in Spain obviously had found too much beer and were hard pressed to fight their way out of the paper bag.
Oh.
But the most enjoyable game we had was against Spartacus.
Okay.
One of the massive slave revolt armies. So my opponent dropped down an army of about 36 elements and said, right, deal with this.
Yep.
We did. And we lost 4 points.
Oh wow! Oh, that's you're inspiring me with this just enormous painting effort that I've just done. I'm just like, no, it doesn't sound
in
good.
fairness, I think to my opponent, I was rolling like a Jemmy Dodger.
Okay.
And that helped quite a lot because his whole army, for all intents and purposes, was all impetuous.
Yeah.
And if he had rolled even just half decently, I was in a world of hurt. But he got made up for it the next game because my next opponent proceeded to absolutely thrash me one. And I think I got he only lost 4 points. So you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, no, I must admit, I've been trying to work out why the Berbers actually worked particularly well, which was just sort of a bit weird. And I think it might be down to my opponents in some way because everybody, there was a lot of people taking sort of Timurid and Mongol type armies to run around on a thing, and it just turned out that this Berber list, which I'd taken it because they got a strategist and they'd successfully invaded Spain. And there's not that many armies that fit that characteristic. So it's like, well, we'll take them and see if I can cobble it together. But the army had some quite good stuff to take down elephants, which was sort of the blunt instrument, a lot of these Timurid and other type armies. It was very good against cavalry because it had a load of spearmen who were normally a bit pants. And it had a few knights and it had quite a few crossbows and bows and it had some other supporting things. It was big. It was 27, 28, something like that, against some very tiny armies. There was a lot that were, because they had elite cavalry and high quality stuff and elephants, they were all in the low 20s. And I think I also did pretty well with the terrain. I managed to get stuff down to narrow the table, and particularly the joy of it was taking a river in a few games, which in ADLG, there's, if you want to narrow the table, you can either take a waterway, which does narrow the table. Clearly, nobody goes in the waterway. Your table is, 16 centimeters narrower? Bosh, done, finished. Or you take a river, which you've got a pretty, a less than 50-50 chance of it actually being much of an obstacle at all. So people can just like march across it. So no one in their right mind takes the river. So no one's ever really read the rules properly for rivers. So I was put down a river because I thought this will be weird. My army's a bit weird. I don't know if it'll work. It wasn't really part of the plan. And then because I had loads of light horse, I stuck a couple of light horse on the short side of the river. And my opponents were sort of tending to put one light horse there. So I'd race down and bully their one light horse and kill it. And their armies lost them. Then I'd come across the river with these two light horse, which was sort of an on-table flank march, when psychologically people have gone, I've got a river, that must be a protected flank. I'm going to anchor my army against it. And then you're going, well, no, you're not, because my light horse can just come and attack you. And I've forced you into a corner. So it was this weird combination of an army it was more effective than some of its parts, and it had some good ways of using terrain that outfoxed a lot of the opponents I placed. If I'd fought a samurai army, I still don't know what I would have done at all. And there were quite a few there, so I was very lucky not to do that. But yeah, 5 wins out of 6, and then I was winning the last game, but it just got timed out. But my opponent was kind of pulling back to try and avoid defeat. So it was just a complete surprise, really.
I think with 68 players.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this and thinking,
yeah,
most of our competitions are sort of 24 to 36 players.
Yeah.
When you get 68, it becomes much more of a lottery with ADLG.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Down to what your opponent.
Well, I think any Ancients game, because Ancients games are fundamentally paper, scissors, stone. That's the beauty of Ancients. That's why it's so much fun.
Yes.
But that does mean you can end up with a paper army against a stone army sometimes, and then it gets kind of hard. So yeah, you can get a rub of the green and have some good opponents. But the people I played had solid armies that were, they were good players, but it just, for some reason, my army kind of worked against them. In a way, they weren't. It was because I think they'd not faced something that was this sort of combination. It was a very atypical, non-stereotypical sort of combination of troops that sort of
that can
people didn't
work,
quite know
because
how to
sometimes
do.
when you're playing things and it's a type of army you're not used to, you don't think through properly.
No.
What do I need to do against it, either in terms of terrain or deployment?
Yeah.
And by the time you realize, oh yes, I should have done that, well, it's kind of halfway into the game and it's too late.
Yeah. I think also when it looks a bit rubbish and it's not really got, the focal point was 3 medium knights. And, you're looking at that going, well, and
we can deal with that. Yeah.
we'll deal with that. And then you can't, because there's a lot of other stuff with it. So I think it and I had to think about it, because I realized that it was potentially very rubbish and I was going to be fighting 6 tedious, terrible games, which I got beaten after playing Dave in the practice game. So I probably thought about it more than I did, and tried a few more different things, and it kind of worked. So that was
another thing,
really.
With 68 players.
Yeah.
You can't predict what you're. I mean, I was sitting there. I think the last, I wasn't flying high, but I was doing pretty well. My last game, I played an early Imperial Roman.
Yep.
Wow, I'm really surprised. That was a really weird game.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to be playing that sort of opponent. It was a really good game, really different. And that gave me a lot of problem, because it was all armoured infantry against my samurai bow.
Yeah. Oh, and what about, we almost forgot, the Castle of Zativa, which we went to on the way down, on top of those 2 mountains. That was insane, wasn't it?
With Hannibal's door.
Yeah, Hannibal's one of Hannibal's wives had a child at this castle. So I think you were saying, Dave, that you previously walked in the footsteps of Hannibal somewhere else.
I have, yeah. That was in Eastern Turkey, in Mithridates, in Amasa. Which is where he sort of ended up after when he was on the run from the Romans, and the Romans tracked him down.
But now you've worked at.
I've been to like 3 or 4 different places that Hannibal's been to, because I've been to Trasimene. Trasimene's amazing.
Okay, but now you've also been to the place where Hannibal's family gynecologist would have been to as well. So, that's probably a unique characterization. So, I think on that point, that may well be the opportunity to move on and head into the world of the quiz.
This means war. This means war.
So we're into the final furlong really now, and I think we've remembered most of the key components, but this is the bit that no one can forget. No one can ever forget. And it is, of course, it is Andy's quiz, Hovig interview yet again. Here we go. So let's hit that quiz music.
Question, comment les voir? Question, le trou est sans fond. Question, la légende le dit. Question, elle dit aussi. Question, c'est une maladie.
Incroyable, as we say. Monsieur Le Finkel, back in November, the world's completely different. It might as well have been 1,000 years ago. Maybe the last quiz was done in Greek or something. Has anybody got any memory of what the last quiz was about?
No.
Well, according to what's written on my iPad,
okay,
I think the theme was good.
Was there an
Charles.
iPad that long ago? Had they been invented? You sure it wasn't in chalk?
Apparently,
no?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the warranty is in Latin. There we go.
Okay.
Right. So the theme was good King Charles, and the first question was, which country's King Charles XII suffered a major defeat at Poltava in modern-day Ukraine in 1709, and was detained for 3 years by the Ottoman Sultan?
Oh, being detained by your Ottoman Sultan.
Sweden. Actually, I think we covered it. We covered
it
in the last quiz or in the last show.
Oh, okay.
Or in fact, that was a quiz from the one before.
In that case, I can't remember what the last quiz.
Oh, should we just pretend though? Should we just pretend that we're doing the answers from that?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So there's 2 more, right? Which was second one was, after the Vikings in the 9th century captured Paris, which Carolingian king had to pay them a ransom to get them to hand back Paris? Was it Charles the Bald, Charles the Simple, or Charles the Fat?
Fat.
Yep.
Let's go fat. Yep.
And the third one was, which nation captured the Royal Navy warship Royal Charles and turned it into a tourist attraction in their home country?
Netherlands.
American.
That's right.
Oh, the old duchies. Good. Okay. Well, let's clog on then.
Question. Comment les voir? Question. Le trou est sans fond. Question. La légende le dit. Question. Elle dit aussi. Question. C'est une maladie. Question.
So Andy, I was going to say this week's quiz questions, but it could be like this quarter or this whatever the world for 6 months is.
Millennium.
Maybe we'll do them. No, we'll be back to a more regular schedule. This episode's quiz questions. Hit us with them, please.
Okay. Well, we are now in March, and the famous date in March is the Ides of March, when Julius Caesar came to grief. This week's theme is Beware the Ides of March. So it's all about stuff which happened around the 15th of March. So the first question is, when Admiral Byng was shot by firing squad on the 14th of March, the writer Voltaire commented that the English feel the need to shoot one of their admirals from time to time to encourage the others. So in what year was Admiral Byng shot?
When was Byng put down? Okay.
Right, okay. Second was, on the 18th of March 1915, how many Allied battleships were sunk in the attack on the Narrows near Dardanelles?
Okay, well, are you sure that's a proper question, isn't it?
That's a proper question, yes.
Oh, God, okay. Right, all right.
Yeah, but bear in mind, I haven't had long to prepare this quiz.
No, okay.
Right?
Good question. No, it's a good question.
Yeah, good
and the
question,
third one is, at which battle on the 15th of March 1781 did the British Army win but suffer over 25% casualties?
1781. Okay, well, that's those are all questions to ponder. Fantastic. Well, I think I can't even work in infamy into that. I'm really struggling. There's got to be an angle, but maybe it's time to bring in, for another reason, the theme tune to close the quiz.
Question. Comment les voir? Question. Le trou est sans fond. Question. La légende le dit. Question. Elle dit aussi. Question. C'est une maladie. Question.
Okay, with quiz receding into the background and the 2-hour Mark Hovey interview, I guess it's time for a quick round robin to see what is up and coming on the paint table, the buying table, the gaming table, all sorts of things. What's going to be happening in the foreseeable future? So, Monsieur Le Warsdale.
Gonna get my French army painted over the next few weeks. I've started playing. After a series of very hard, tough negotiations with my family, it's been decided that I am allowed out on my own on a Wednesday evening. Hence me being here.
Congratulations.
At least until the cricket season starts. So I've been playing a few games, and I'm going to be playing Fire and Fury with Mr. Whitaker, with a view, hopefully, to very soon starting a campaign.
Wow.
Which will be sort of like lots of fun. So I'm looking forward to that.
Good. What scale?
10 mil.
10 mil. That's the law. That's the right way of doing it.
Well, the fact, and I got 3 metric tons of American Civil War 10 mil figures.
All right. Well, look, if you need anybody to turn up and make the battle even bigger for the decisive moment, I'm there. I'm in my car already, ready to rock.
Okay, I'll bear it in mind.
It's a done deal. Okay. All right. Tamsin, what have you got on the print shelf, possibly even the print queue?
Mostly printing some sci-fi figures.
Yeah.
Crew figures for the spaceship. Got a few more to go. But sort of paint desk. I'm doing the whole parts of the spaceship now. Okay. I've got a few more figures to paint.
Yep. So there's going to be a lot of signage, of directional signage of don't step here and press this button to make the zoop noise or anything. No. No, just keep it simple. These people know their way around their own spaceship.
At some point, I need to do some decals for the ship.
Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be basically some of the less grimy ships of the Expanse universe. Then I guess.
No, it's going to be the Traveller universe, not
Traveller universe. Sorry. Okay. Right. Yeah. Key important. Done deal. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
But it will be quite grimy because it's an old ship. It'll be quite grimy.
Good. Excellent. Monsieur Finkel, what have you got coming up over the next few days, weeks, months, whatever?
Well, in terms of painting, it's finishing these German 15 mil, these German 10 mil painted guys, and then I've got some Forged in Battle Vikings, which I undercoated, still on lollipop sticks, so I'm going to try and clear them off. Oh, that's very nice. It's a.
There we go. Is
that one of these red 3 Hanamags?
That is, yeah. That's a red 3 Hanamag waving at the camera. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So
they can all climb in that.
Then I shall have sufficient guys to do whatever World War II game I'm ever likely to play.
Yep.
And then I've got a few World War II early war vehicles to paint after that, and then I'll see. I mean, I think my painting progress is very slow at the moment, so probably keep me entertained for a while. In that, I mean, tonight I've actually whizzed through painting some of these Germans. I got most of them done, but you know, I hadn't been painting anything really for several weeks.
For quite some time. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Simon, I think we probably got a good guess at what your next few weeks. Are there any events that are going to interrupt you painting 28mm plastic Hellenistics?
I've got roll call coming up, so I'm just trying to work out what army to bring in that. It's quite I'm taking the 25mm period, so it's any army in 1066.
Yeah, nice and simple, on the money.
Which becomes a bit of a challenge when I've got two armies, my Chinese and my medievals. Like, who can exactly fit into that one?
Okay.
That's going to be good fun. But yeah, on the painting table,
I could probably lend you some if you wanted. Okay. I've got some Normans and Arabs and things, so yeah, I'm sure I could find some stuff for you if you wanted to try some of that out.
We might have to talk.
Okay, let's do that.
And otherwise, I'm just trying to focus on getting enough of my Greeks painted up, because I'd like to bring them to Birmingham up at UK Games Expo, because that's any army pre 500. So the Greeks, it's close enough to pre 500, so it's giving me an excuse to bring them up.
Yeah, that's creeping up. Good.
I'm tempted. It's probably going to be a completely stupid idea, but with the Seleucids, you can have some. I think it is. You can have some scythe chariots, and as people know, I like to bring slightly strange objects to scythe chariots. So I was thinking for the Greeks, either some minotaurs, Medusa figures, gorgons, or things like that. So
there's got to be 1,000,001 of those on Thingiverse to be printed out in 3D, isn't there? Yeah.
I have been looking at Thingiverse and Etsy and all that, and Reaper and all that going. Tamsin, I can see you're about to suggest
chariot with a foundry up front.
Right?
Foundry.
Well, yes, they've got some Greek.
They've got a Greek myth.
Yeah. That's a thing as well. Saving that as well. Okay. All right. Cool. So Dave, what about you? What's your next few months?
London one day.
Yep.
2 weeks time. I've actually submitted a list and it's been approved.
I know, I've approved it. Yeah.
Then we're going to Le Havre.
We are, yes. We're going to
we go to France
to play in the Our Ancestors competition in somewhere near Le Havre using armies that are French ancestors.
I've had a strange email conversation I'll tell you about later.
Okay, all right. Weird. Good.
So I'm taking the Vikings to Le Havre. They're going home for definite, and they're going to get treated like a sleeping policeman by Norman armies, I suspect.
Yeah, possibly. But we are going to go see the Bayeux Tapestry, aren't we? And and some Normandy
maybe
beaches.
Arromanches or something, yeah.
And Rouen, no, not Rouen, Caen Cathedral and the old town, and drink some Calvados. Yeah. That should be quite a good old trip.
Good, where they burnt what's her name?
Yeah, Joan of Arc.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Was that not Orleans?
No.
That's a quiz question, Andy. You can't have two questions. You're only allowed 3 questions a week. You can't have another one. I'm sorry. It's
one of the airspeed velocity of a migrating swallow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tapestry. I won't have been to for 49 years.
Wow. Yes, which is remarkable.
I wonder if
you're only 36. Yeah.
Pieces that you walk around with. I bet they've updated them since.
Yeah, they probably do. It's probably on an app or something, isn't it? No, that France one should be a good old trip, actually. That should be kind of fun.
And there's roll call, Birmingham, Simon says.
Yep.
Roll call. I think I've got a pretty good idea what I'm going to use for that.
I've got a campaign in May.
Oh, God, campaign as well.
Pretty good idea. I'm actually kind of planning ahead of what.
Wow.
This is a bit shocking. I actually know what I'm going to use for each competition.
God, it's a nightmare. Yeah, well, no, I think both the one dayer and campaign both fall foul of other things in my diary. It's bloody Sky moved Fulham Arsenal, so the London one dayer, which I tried to arrange around football, suddenly is now clashing with football. So I'm going to have to skip that one, and then campaign I'm going to be in Greece on actual holiday when that comes around. So that's one that we're missing. So France is going to be a biggie, and I do need to see what's going on with some other stuff to see whether the UK Games Expo one fits in for me as well. Hopefully it will, because that's always a really, really good trip. And I should be getting the reports from well, possibly by the time this comes out, the reports from Alicante and our trip and the rest of it will all be published as well. And some photos of these plastic nights and things like that. I'm just painting up a few more civilians as well, because I realized that the Spartacus list that I put together for 200 points needs you to have at least one of the really cheap, completely unarmed mothers and children levy, because otherwise it just doesn't add up, because everything costs like 3 and 4 and 5 or something. So you need a 2-point unit to make it add up to 200. So I've got some completely unarmed little civilians to do before I follow Simon into painting up or starting to make a big all options 28mm Hellenistic army as well, which is just going to be a mega project. But I almost want to really clear the decks of absolutely everything before I get that. So there's a few other bits and pieces, a couple more video battle reports to do as well, from Plymouth and also from Beachhead. I think I'll probably end up doing video battle reports from those two, and getting those on YouTube. So there's a lot of painting and content, and a bit of gaming as well. And I think I'm even going to start playing Malifaux again on a Tuesday night in Bad Moon Cafe in London Bridge or something, because I've got a lot of Malifaux stuff that we've talked about in the past, me and Adam, and to try and see how much that meta has moved on, and if my stuff is now just rubbish and needs to be sold, and see that. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about by the next time we reconvene here, whenever that may be. So on that note, I think everybody, goodbye, and we'll see everybody next time.
Goodbye.
Bye. Sent rounds on WhatsApp. Where was it about where we are for, or did I say, yeah, so the 93rd best hobbies podcast, the 129th best hobbies podcast in New Zealand, right? Fine.
I guess the other 120 is rugby, shagging,
yes,
and
indeed.
cricket.
And we're 93rd in Spain.
We're 93rd in Spain.
We dropped 14 places.
Okay, good.
We're 45
right, well,
in New Zealand.
Let's rock.
This means war. This means war.
Does anyone know if Chinese Goths wear white?